Hey guys, what's going on? And welcome back to another Brad Trick video. And today we're going to be talking about a movie review. Yes, this movie. Okay, so I've been wanting to do some older movie reviews for the longest time. And if I can believe correctly, I believe this movie was made possibly in '64. I'm not sure if I'm right about that. I could be off on the date. I may be like 10 years off. Could be '74. But it's somewhere in that time frame. Um, I'm pretty sure it was black and white. So I'm pretty sure it's 64 is probably right, but it's close. I'm close. Hey, close. I'm close. Okay. I know we're not talking about hand grenades here, but we're close. But I watched The Hustler, and it's Paul Newman and Jackie Gleason and George C. Scott was in it too. I heard his name before, so that's why I threw him in there. And he actually plays a pivotal role in the movie. Um, Now, I always had this stigma about black and white movies where nobody ever really watches them, but I never thought it was a problem with me with watching movies. It's just, can they keep me entertained? And a lot of the older movies, they're just not exciting enough to keep me entertained. But this movie was honestly just like almost kind of like the old sitcoms, or like if the dramas now were a sitcom, that's kind of what this looked like to me. And that's how they filmed it back then. I'm pretty sure. So this movie was really good. I enjoyed it. Was it the greatest movie I've ever seen? No. Was it the worst movie I've ever seen? No. Here's a cool thing about it. Let me tell you about this. How cool would it be today, as the air thing goes off? Um, how cool would it be today if somebody made a gambling movie with pool, with shooting that kind of pool, not the splash, not that kind of pool, but with pool? It'd be awesome. And I don't know if anybody has. This movie should be remade. Now I know this is kind of a classic, and people don't want anybody to touch it. Whatever. They've already broke that rule many a times. This movie right here deserves to be remade in the right way, and to have somebody be in this movie and do really extremely well. And I think you know what I'm trying to say. Channing Tatum would be the guy to go in this role because Paul Newman, I don't know if his popularity was up to the point when he made this movie, but if it was, if you would probably in correlation with that, Channing Tatum would probably be that guy. Maybe not completely, but he would probably be the guy you want to go to for this role because I think he could play a good Paul Newman. But this movie is basically about this guy who thinks he's the best. He is super good, but he can't hold his alcohol. And he basically drinks himself into oblivion, drinks himself out of money, and he goes and he cons people along the way to where he leaves his best friend at the beginning of the movie, and I'm not really giving anything away. The movie is really, really good. You need to check it out. It's old. It's from 1964. If you haven't seen it by now, Jesus Christ, are you going to go see it? It's worth watching. That's all I'm going to say. So if I do spoilers, whatever. It's an old movie. It's black and white. Um, but the movie is really, really super good. Jackie Gleason does a good job of being that old time pool player that everybody wants to beat, um, and being kind of cocky and arrogant, but in a way still showing that he can't believe he's losing at certain times of the movie to this guy who just came in and started playing him. At the beginning of the movie starts out, it's all about pool. Like it starts out pool, 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 pool. And it just goes from there. Like the movie is super good. And in the middle, it does get kind of boring. And I fell asleep for about 10 minutes or so. But I don't think I missed anything really pivotal. Pivotal. But in the middle of the movie, he loses his agent that he'd been with forever, or the guy that kind of ran the operation behind him to help him kind of set things up and give him ideas and stuff as he went. But I think he got full of himself. He didn't want him anymore, and he got with another guy who didn't really have the best interest of him in his mind. And he ended up basically getting him beat up in the process for a second time because he got beat up a couple times in this movie because um, gambling in pool halls weren't really allowed, and I don't think they still are, but it's that point. But back in the day, people would be crooked about things like that. They would bet real money, real big money. They were talking like $100 a game, $1,000 a game, and you know, um, and I can only imagine back then, like New York and stuff like that. People probably did this. People probably did gamble this kind of money, and people probably lost and probably didn't have the money at times and probably got beat up because of it out back in the alley and stuff. But I'm just assuming a lot of that stuff because this movie kind of entails that. And it's a lot of times if some of these things like are in movies a lot, it probably happened at least a few times in major cities and things like that, or they know of stories that happen. But this movie, incredible. If you haven't checked out The Hustler, it's on Netflix. Seen on Netflix, so they have this classic on Netflix right now. There's a lot of good classics on Netflix right now, honestly. Yeah, I'll probably check out another one. The Hustler is definitely worth your time. Like I said, it's a pool gambling movie with Jackie Gleason. If you don't know who Jackie Gleason is, he was in The Honeymooners. So there you go. That guy. He was the guy that always yelled a lot um, in the show. And I'm sure that's referenced a lot, like a Family Guy and things like that, like back in the day. So that's he, and he's a great actor. He also played the sheriff in Smokey and the Bandit. So if you didn't know that. So he's a really good actor, and I think he's one of the actors that gets overlooked. That people don't really mention him too much uh, in breaths because, well, one, because I don't think he's with us anymore, but the other is just like I think the movie industry wasn't as big back then as it is now. It's big, but it was big, but I don't think it's like today. Like everybody talks about like every movie that comes out. Like we everybody wants to give their opinions on it. Oh, it sucks. So it's good. Blah blah blah. Back then, like it was just probably a select few that had the money to buy a TV set and things like that. So I don't think it's as big as what it was. I don't think it was big back then compared to now because when people did watch TV, there was probably so much else going on behind them just because of what was going on in society, the government, presidential things, conspiracies, and just life was happening, and there's just way too much going on in life, uh, and for them to have something like social media or something like that, like it would have been crazy back then. I don't think social media would have been that big if it was big back then because there would have been so much stuff going on that it would probably be totally different than what it is today. So this is my opinion. Check out The Hustler. The Hustler is a great movie, black and white movie. It's worth your time. It is over 2 hours long, but to me, it only got boring like an hour and a half into it, and then you're like, okay, where are they going to go with this? Probably I think it's about 45 minutes into it because that's when the pool stops at the beginning. And then it kind of goes on in the story, and you start to learn about these people, and you're not understanding what's going on. I think that's where I kind of fell asleep a little bit. But in the movie's defense, I think I have like half narcolepsy or something going on. I don't know what's going on with that. But I have trouble staying awake sometimes. But the movie was pretty good, and I didn't miss too much of it, like I said. But George C. Scott's character, he kind of sounds shady, and you're not sure about his character. And every time he's with the character, you're like wondering what's going to happen if he's trying to screw him over this time. And it seems like he's not. But every single time you see him kind of talking to the girl he's with, and then something happens to the girl in the movie, um, and then that's kind of when the story comes to an end, and you kind of comes to a conclusion, and he kind of wakes up in life and realizes that what he has to do to survive in life, to stop screwing around, stop drinking a lot, and everything like that. But anyway, I think I just told you the whole entire movie, but it's worth checking out. Check out The Hustler. Jackie Gleason, Paul Newman. George C. Scott plays a really good character in the movie, and he's in it like all throughout. Like those are three main characters in the movie. There's probably a couple other characters I probably could mention. I don't remember the girl's name. Like the girls all seemed like they looked all the same back then, though. That I noticed, like they all had the same hairdo, and like I don't know, like back in the day, like they wouldn't let them have any other hairdo except for mom haircut back then for some reason. I don't know. In this movie, like they smoked and drank and stuff, so this is confusing to me. Like it's kind of like they're in that era. They have everything in that era that any other movie would have, but they're doing things like from this era. So it's kind of weird. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have you seen The Hustler? Leave your comment down below. It's an older movie. It's black and white. I don't think they remade this. If they did remake it, they didn't make it with Pool, because I think somebody said they thought they remade it, but it wasn't the same exact name. They used something else, but I don't think it was Pool. So if that was a remake of this movie, then it shouldn't count. Just remake it with Pool, because I think it'll be way much better. Anyway, I'm not very good at grammar, so don't try and correct me on that. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe as always, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe for more if you enjoyed the video. I don't really say subscribe more, because you're going to subscribe whether you like. If you want to subscribe, you're going to subscribe. If you're not going to subscribe, I'm not going to subscribe. If you want to subscribe, you'll subscribe. All right. All right. Anyways, like the video. Leave a comment down below. What do you think about it? Do I suck? Do I suck at reviewing movies? Tell me. Anyways, keep rocking and keep on watching. Later, guys.